Super Mario Maker 2 theme oddities. Alright, here's where we're not exactly talking about the game, but something that's really important to bring to attention, being that the theming of this game in Mario Maker 2 is super weird. First of all, it's just such a weird addition, because, like, it's visually not that distinct from the new Super Mario Bros. Theme. Most of this is just because the big oddity is that it's still 2.5D despite 3D World being a full 3D game, hence the name. And yeah, you just play this side-scrolling thing, so that's why it can be hard to distinguish them at first until you really pay attention to the models in the background and the elements that are going on. It's more easy to tell once you played the game for a while, but yeah. That, and something I alluded to earlier, is that there's a big emphasis on this mode for things that were barely in or just weren't in 3D World at all. Now, when you think of 3D World, you think of, again, the 3D environment and for player, and you think of doing tricks and dives and, backflips and all that, and that's not really well too emphasized in Mario Maker. Mario Maker has stuff full of things like the baseballs, which, that appears like a couple of times in 3D World. That's not really a big deal at all, and it seems like the builder outfit is, like, really highlighted in this theme specifically. Obviously, that's not in 3D World remotely. And there's no, there's no Lucky Bells, there's just Super Bells, the regular cat bells. And the biggest thing is that this is really famous because of, Simple Flips and Joel's infamous Desert Bus level is the Koopa Car, the drivable car in here, which is not in 3D World at all. They add this whole entire new thing that's not even in the game. It's the biggest, thing that you think of when it comes to that theming in Mario Maker 2, and we'll get to the origins of that in a little bit, but of course the biggest thing that bothered everybody is the fact that it's under its own separate category called extra themes, with an S, plural. But there were no other extra themes ever added to the game. Very infamous. Super Mario World sound effects. Just something that's easy to miss is that during certain parts of the game, such as when you're fighting Bowser in his car and when you're doing damage to him, sound effects straight from Mario World will play. Full banner theme. So, with the Wii U version, when you start off, there's that little jingle that plays for a bit. Well, that stops after about 8 seconds, especially on newer updates of the console, so nobody can really hear this. But it does continue to loop afterwards. In fact, it's what I was playing at the start of this when I was giving an explanation to the series. And now here's a small snippet without me talking. World 5 theming. What the heck is it? So, on the Mario Wiki itself, it says it's a purple beach-like island. Doesn't sound too sure of itself, and I've always wondered where exactly this is. I've heard others question it. I remember Fat Guy and Lenny on their playthrough joking that it's like a soapy zone, and it's all clean and neat. There's already like a water, beach, ocean theme before this, which makes it all the more weird, and I don't know, if somebody knows more specifically what this could be based on, then do say, because it's always been a bit odd. Super Guide / Sponge. This was really well known when it was first found a bit after the game came out, but remember when they used to do that annoying Super Guide shit? Yeah, that was almost going to be on here until they cut it, thank goodness. And left over are these files of the Super Guide, which would have been Orange Swap Mario, interestingly enough. And the reason why Sponge is on here, well, first of all, I speculate maybe it was cut because it got in the way of the whole entire 4-player thing, even though new Super Bros on the Wii and Wii U were also 4-player, but I guess it's even more intrusive here, and they just figured that was a not fun thing. Anyway, the reason why it's called Sponge is because of the vinesauce meme, being the original character, the lost, depressed Mario brother named Sponge, who has an orange color scheme with cyan overalls, and yeah, the S obviously highlights it all the more. If people was a joke, be like, oh my gosh, it's Sponge, he was almost in the game for real. Bowser kidnapped the Sprixies to build his amusement park. Yep, as it says on there, this is just a theory that makes sense, because the game gives you no fucking reason otherwise as to why he would be doing this, and Lo and behold, the Sprigsies are known for building stuff, and you go and he has this big, huge, elaborate amusement park that was never anywhere else, and it's after what would normally be his castle, so yeah, I guess that's just it. Maybe he really wanted to impress Junior, who knows. Bowser's muscle card inspired Koopa Chupa Car. This is true, at least according to the Mario Wiki. I don't know what the sources are, though, but I mean, it's the closest thing in the game. In Mario World, the 3D World, you ride in skis one time in Plus C, but that stuff isn't in Mario Maker 2. No, instead, they got this car that's not in the original game, but you know how there's the famous Bowser car that he drives on there that was super funny and strange, and apparently this gave them the idea to add a new mechanic to the game. Super Mario Land 2 bells. This is just a small, interesting thing that obviously the cat bells are the biggest power-up in here, but then in Super Mario Land 2, there were these bells that would highlight checkpoints, and they look pretty similar to them if the face and everything. Again, it's probably just a coincidence, but it's still pretty cool. Anyway, that was the big convoluted middle, and next we're going to go into even deeper waters.